Welcome to the recap of episode 1 of Island from Byeogji Official. In the first episode of Island, we see a couple visiting Jeju Island to take pre-wedding photos with their photographer. The photographer tells them about the legend of the Dol Harabang statues, which are considered to be protective and fertility gods on the island. As the photographer sets up his camera, the bride touches the nose of one of the statues in a superstitious gesture, and something goes wrong. The statues turn to dust and a demon enters the couple, causing the groom to try and attack the photographer. We also see a creepy insect approaching the photographer, who stomps on it before turning around to defend himself. This sets the stage for a mysterious and ominous story to unfold. In this episode of Island, we see that the couple who touched the Dol Harabang statues has been transformed into monsters with antlers growing from their bodies. The groom tries to attack the photographer, but is stopped by a man named Ban who wields a magical sword from a distance. Meanwhile, two Spanish priests notice a bloodstain on a monument in a church, and one asks the other to call Giovanni, a priest who is in the same church performing an exorcism on a possessed woman. The woman tries to instigate Giovanni in a man's voice, but he avoids the demon and promises to free her. He uses a crucifix and holy water to try and exorcise the demon, but is interrupted by another priest who asks him to follow him. This action-packed scene sets the stage for a thrilling and supernatural story to unfold. After completing the exorcism on the possessed woman, Giovanni meets with a senior priest who tells him about a legend related to a bloodstain on a monument in the church. The priest explains that the bloodstain is a sign that the demon world is endangering human life, and that a monster killed the island's savior, who has been reincarnated as a woman. The priest asks Giovanni to return to the island and help the savior, and Giovanni agrees. In another part of the story, we see Minho, the chairman of the Daehan group, engaging in a minor argument with a press reporter at an art exhibition. When asked about the funds used to purchase hundreds of paintings, Minho mentions that they will be used at a hotel that the reporter frequents. This introduces us to new characters and hints at conflicts to come in the story. After the argument with the press reporter, Minho is having dinner when her aunt, the owner of the Daehan Hotel, arrives and argues with her about the ownership of the hotels. Minho asserts that she has the right to do what she pleases with her father's hotel, as she is the only successor of CEO Won Tae-han and owns most of the shares. Her aunt leaves angrily. Later that night, Minho's car is involved in an accident and the thugs from the other car try to embarrass Minho's secretary. Minho asks her secretary to apologize, but the thugs continue to argue. In the end, Minho ends up beating one of the thugs while his friend films the incident and escapes. This scene introduces tension and conflict between the characters and hints at Minho's tough and capable personality. The next morning, a video of Minho's altercation with the thugs goes viral, causing negative news reports about her to be published online. Minho wonders if her aunt is behind the scandal, but the aunt denies involvement. Minho then goes to her father's cabin to discuss the incident with CEO Won, who blames her for the company's falling stocks. Minho's uncle, Butler Jang, suggests that she lay low and hide out due to the scandal, but Minho refuses and storms out of the room. She asks her secretary to track down the thugs who caused the ruckus. Butler Jang also tries to talk to Minho about the incident and asks her to go back to Jeju Island, where she used to study in high school. Reluctantly, Minho agrees to return to Tamra High School. At the Jeju airport, reporters follow her trying to get photos, but Minho uses the private exit to escape while her secretary distracts the reporters. This scene reveals more about Minho's character and the challenges she faces due to the viral video and the negative attention it brings. As soon as Minho arrives on Jeju Island, she senses something sinister in the air, as does a woman in a field far away. Minho is in the parking lot looking for her car when she sees a bride in a wedding dress, who was possessed by a demon. The demon chases Minho and she manages to distract it by unlocking her car and running in the opposite direction in an open tempo. The demon pokes a hole in the tempo and tries to enter it, but is fought off by Ban, a man in a black suit who appears and rescues Minho. After the confrontation, Minho passes out and wakes up in her bed, wondering who Ban is. Her secretary tells her that the temple was destroyed and they did not see any man in a black suit. Minho is impressed with her living quarters, which resemble a fortress. This intense and suspenseful scene introduces the demon bride and Ban and reveals that Minho is in danger and needs protection. The next day, the same woman who felt the eerie sensation when Minho arrived on Jeju Island talks to Ban, asking about Minho and suggesting that she resembles someone else. Ban tells the woman that Minho did not recognize him, and the woman assumes that she has not awoken yet. Ban mentions that the lust demon has targeted Minho, and the woman asks Ban to welcome Minho. The episode then flashes back to ancient Jeju, where a younger Ban is the only child to survive a demon massacre that kills his entire family. Leader Jongryong takes Ban in and trains him to become a demon slayer, teaching him about the evil lust demon that has been brutally killing humans. Leader Jongryong stabs the demon with a sword and uses the same sword to inject some of its blood into the surviving children, including Ban. Out of all the children who were subjected to the experiment, only Ban and Gongtan survive and are trained to become demon slayers. A young girl named Wonjong witnesses Ban being tortured as a child during his training. In the present day, Minho visits Tamra High School and talks to the principal about providing financial assistance. She asks to meet the teachers, but they are distant due to her public reputation. One of the professors suggests that Minho take up the position of the recently retired school guidance counselor, and Minho agrees despite having no experience in the field. When she goes to the counseling room, she meets her childhood friend Soo-jin, who recommended her for the job. The two friends catch up before Minho leaves to go back home. This scene shows Minho's desire to give back and make amends for her negative public image, and introduces her friendship with Soo-jin. Minho becomes angry when she reads a news article about her aunt taking over her position as chairman of the Daehan group while she is on a break. She calls her dad about it, but he asks her to go along with it without causing a scene. Minho agrees, but says she will let it pass until she is back on Jeju, and asks to meet her friend Soo-jin at a cafe. Minho gets a call from her informant, who sends her photos of Secretary Kong with her aunt. She is shocked to discover that her aunt is the one who tried to ruin her reputation with Secretary Kang's help. Minho tells him that she is disappointed in him, as she treated him like family. Secretary Kong further hurts Minho by saying that he has always been against her, and warns her to watch her back for what the future holds. This scene reveals the betrayal of Secretary Kong and the tension between Minho and her aunt. After confronting Secretary Kong, Minho leaves him with the car and asks to use it as his severance pay. She starts walking away, crying, when Secretary Kong is possessed by a lust demon. Minho calls Butler Jang for a car, but the network is poor and the call doesn't go through. She sees Secretary Kong and is initially relieved, but realizes he is possessed and knocks him out with a flying kick. She starts running in the opposite direction, but the monster grabs her. Just then, Ban appears and snaps the monster's arm with his sword, rescuing Minho. This intense and suspenseful scene introduces the lust demon and shows Ban's skills as a demon slayer. Thank you for watching the recap of episode 1, from Island. If you liked this recap, make sure to watch other recaps too. Until then, have fun and stay otaku.